Good day, everyone, and welcome to another interesting edition of the show Facts and Opinion on the News Chronicle TV. My name is Pius Kadon, and I am joined by
Muwaffaq Adadu.
On the program Facts and Opinion. We reel out some, topical issues for you to, share your opinions on, and then we get to talk about these issues. And we don't get to talk about these issues alone here in the studio. We invite an analyst to join us, analyze some of these issues. And on today's edition, we are going to be speaking with a freelance journalist and a public affairs analyst. And I'm talking about Mr. Raji Hussein Olani, who joins us via Zoom. Mr. Olani, you're welcome.
Good morning. It's good to have me. Thank you so much.
So, like I said earlier, we are going to, raise the curtain with these topics. First, we're going to look at the political appointees, who are meant to, face resignation on or before the 31st of March. Political appointees who are seeking elective position in the 2027 rather general election. And of course, we're also going to look at, dollar high as 1,360 resignation on or before March 31st.
Yes, I'm here. I can barely hear you.
If you were following when I was reading out some of the topics that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I got some of the topics. You said we are looking at the political appointees as per concerning the 2027 election, as well as the issue of the dollar to naira, as well as the issue of price hike in the petroleum resources. And you also mentioned, I think, the controversial issue of Ozoro Festival.
Yeah, of course.
If I'm not mistaken, as well as the I think those are the points you mentioned.
Yeah, and if time permits, we're also going to.
That's what I'm saying now. Obi may decide to look for a soft landing in order, by trying to meet up or joining with other political aspirants. Now, when you look at it, Kwankwaso is not that doing well in Kano State as it is now, because if he has a very good understanding with the governor, Abagida, he wouldn't have left that party. And a sitting governor, leaving a party that is still trying to find its ground is a very big blow for the leader of that particular party. Now, I believe with the visitation, Obi may decide to join hand with Kwankwaso in order to do what? To continue with each other. Now, where the problem lies is that Obi will not be ready to do running mate for Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso will not be ready to do running mate for Obi. Now, Obi and his followers.
We'll get back to you in a while. So, Mr. Muwaffaq, looking at what Raji is saying, are we likely to see what played out in 2023?
My question, I wanted asking a question.
Yes.
In this arrangement, from what Mr. Raji have been saying, where are we keeping Atiku? Where are we keeping Amechi? You understand?
Definitely.
I understand that, yes, every party is going to have a primaries before, and is will be likely
going
to go back to Labour Party. Is there a possibility of that? Because personally, I don't know. Yes, he's a juggernaut, he's a big wig, but at the same time, I kind of have a feeling that he might not be able to get in ADC.
That's like that's like something that even his own disciples said they were not going to, rally around the ADC if their own favorite does not get the presidential.
Of course, it's expected.
That is why I'm saying, are we likely to see what played out in 2023 come 2027? Because when PDP.
Okay, now All those has already been tabled for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and I believe once they claim the ticket, the obedience may not be in support. Then former Minister of Transport or Works, former Minister of Transport will also not be supportive of it. So ADC has not put its house in order, which will be a very big blow for them in 2027. So now that visitation by former governor of Anambra State to Council is to just find a soft landing for him in 27. Maybe there'll be some kind of platform. There will be some kind of easy opportunity to use the NNP as a platform to run for the presidential election in 2027. I think that's the major issue that is on ground. And they all are trying to play their cards according to how it will favor them.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to put it there. I think just like you said, Obi is trying to weigh his options and then trying to secure some of the alternatives.
Especially in the north.
Yes, and then looking at the fact that he feels he might not really secure the presidential ticket in the ADC. So what is best for him is to test the waters in NNPP and see if it doesn't work in ADC. He pitch tents with Kwankwaso in the NNPP and see if it's going to work out for him. But the contending issue is if Kwankwaso is going to allow Obi be the presidential candidate. So that is where the bone of contention
Well, I feel our politicians are quite smart, especially when it comes to who does what and who takes what. What are you giving me in return? In the long run, what am I going to get? What deals are we making? Because I want to believe all these things are all about what deals are we making and who makes the best deals.
Definitely.
So, yes, I can relinquish power for you. I can step back for you, but what am I getting in return? So I feel yes, they might have a certain kind of arrangement within themselves that can actually be a good one.
All right. So this is a better way to put this, and then I like I said, in a couple of days we're going to see how things are going to pan out, especially when these parties hold their convention, and then we get to see interest play out in different camps of those who are interested in the presidential position. So let's look at the dollar rate and of course the surge in fuel price. This is one thing that has
I'm
been
laughing.
affecting a lot of Nigerians, especially the fuel hike.
I'm laughing because Nigerians are very dramatic.
Okay.
Nigerians are very resilient, but at the same time, very, very dramatic. We might not protest, even though I had the labor unions planning to protest, but we might not actually protest because we usually find a way around it, usually, no matter how hard it gets. What is most disheartening is the fact that a dollar, the fuel price right now, 1 liter is higher than $1 in Nigeria. A major oil producing state we have a private refinery, a functional private refinery that should be able to feed the country. We are already, like I said, an oil producing state. We have refineries that are non-functional that we can get them back up and running and feed these refineries, and then we don't have to even feel whatever is happening from the Strait of Hormuz, from the Israel-Iran war. But we happen to find ourselves in this turmoil, we happen to find ourselves in this drama where we are now at the mercy of the Western countries and their unending battles.
And I feel that is one problem with not being able to be proactive in most of policies as a country. This particular increase was seen in fuel price. This particular scarcity, I would say, that we're currently experiencing is because of our inability to be proactive, especially in the energy sector, because it is an artificial scarcity. It is something that came as a result of the crisis in the Middle East,
Yes, of course.
Iran and all. But imagine if we had put some things in place, making sure that, okay, we understand that this is our mainstay. Oil, petrol is the mainstay of Nigeria's economy. So if you understand that this is your mainstay, you're going to do everything possible to ensure that it is secured, not just for the present, for the future.
For the future,
you understand? So if anything messes up with the flow of this particular mainstay, you've already created an absorber for your citizens. That, okay, if this thing happens, this is what we're going to do.
The coping mechanism
yes.
that we apply.
But in a situation where you're just allowing the whole thing to autopilot itself, everything is just going, you just feel nothing is going to happen to it. So if something little touches on it, is going to affect the entire system.
Which brings me to the question, what happened to the fuel subsidy revenue? Like, okay, we had the fuel subsidy was removed, and then we now had all the money coming from the fuel subsidy, which was supposed to be channeled in improving the lives of citizens.
Yeah.
Now, in improving the lives of citizens in Nigeria, history have taught us that it always revolves around fuel price, right? Food, healthcare, services, whatever it is, still revolves around fuel. Because whenever anything happens to our fuel and the prices change, everything changes. Everything changes, from transportation fare to food to whatever, everything changes. So we know that everything of ours revolves around this. What measures are we putting, or what measures did we take? We removed the fuel subsidy, it is no longer there, of course, but then what did we use the resources for? Did we use it in line with this to assist or to help relieve as much of the weight on our people as possible, or did we just use it in some bogus whatever? It can be a bit disheartening.
Before we let Raji come in on this, in as much as it is going to be heartbreaking to go back to when the president said subsidy is gone, and then it landed us in a situation where it felt like we can really never go back to how things used to be. After this first subsidy is gone, we saw, hike in the price of so many things because of the ripple effect of the removal of subsidy. But then we saw some kind of cautionary measures that the president or even this government made by, rolling out some of these CNG buses. But then, has that really cushioned the plight of Nigerians? Has that really reduced the effect or even the impact of this fuel subsidy? How many CNG buses are there? And then we also understand that the presidency, in fact, I heard that they were going to, ensure that there are, is it gas stations, or even ensure that some of these cars that
CNG stations,
yes, start using CNG and all. And trust me, if you ask some of these commercial drivers, the price of converting to CNG is not a joke.
It's not a joke
in this economy.
Of course,
and then we're making it look like it's something that an ordinary person can just walk into some of these gas facilities and just say, I want to convert. It's not something of 20K, it's not something of 50K, it's not something of 100K. And then it felt like some of our leaders don't go down to the hinterlands, go down to the commoners to see what Nigerians are going through, and then to see their purchasing power in line with some of the policies that they come up with.
Mr. Raji,
so can you please come up and come in on this particular issue we're talking about?
Okay. Petrol, PMS, and increment, and the dollar to naira coming up to expectation. I think we are missing something here. First of all, when we take a look at the way this increment in PMS is going, we will see and know that it is global. It is global. For instance, the likes of countries that are still selling PMS at a very tangible and low rate, Libya is one of them. Libya is still selling at 31 naira officially. That is, and when you change it into Angola is selling at 481 naira, Egypt at 620, Sudan at 947. The likes of South Africa is selling at 1,600 naira, 609 naira. Cameroon at 1,350 naira. The same thing is applicable to Ghana and Togo and other West African countries. So the PMS is a phenomenon, and this can only going on in the Middle East come to a halt. There is no way the countries that are leading in oil production are in war, and you think things will go according to what each country planned. It's not possible. Okay, look at a lot of crude oil deposits. The same thing is applicable to Qatar, countries. Now, all these countries are into a war that we don't know when it will end. Unless the war stopped, that is when we can be polarizing one country or the other. For instance, 20% of the world. And this Strait of Hormuz that down up to today, since the war started. So except there oil in Nigeria, but the rise in the petroleum agreement. For instance, $115 today. Wow. So the higher the product. Now, let Dangote's refinery is a salvage for Nigeria in this situation, because majorly all the PS, diesel, kerosene, whatever we are using, the agro and fuel that we are using in Nigeria. So supposing this war met Nigeria in that situation, where would the country would have been today? It would have led to what? Anarchy and higher inflation in price. Poverty would have increased. So I think where the government needs to come in is to just look at how they can bail out some people. There is need for what? For wage award to continue, in order for civil servants not to bear the brunt. The civil servants are the major one bearing the brunt of this crude oil increments now. So now, the increment in crude oil leads to what? Leads to more inflow of cash for the federal government, because federal government majorly are the what? Are the sole owner of crude oil in Nigeria. So if there is inflow of cash for the country, then the government needs to look how they can salvage the situation by looking at how they can what? How they can remedy this increment in the fuel, because the increment in fuel price will lead to cost of living, as well as income, because the income, the minimum wage is still pegged at 70,000 naira at federal level, while states are paying.
Mr. Rajiv,
sorry?
Yeah, we are pressing for time, so maybe we'll just try to round off on this topic, then we move to the next topic, and then we round up. Mr. Muwaffaq, can you say something on
yes. So looking at the last topic we're going to be looking at, it is quite controversial, recently we saw videos surfacing online of the Ozoro festival that happened in Delta State, which is quite disheartening to see young men seriously harassing women, saying that it's like a rape feast or something.
It was a harrowing experience.
It was something else.
Yeah,
very
very bitter experience.
Very bitter.
In as much as a country, each region of the country have their own culture, tradition, and all. But I think you should, have some level of decorum and then some level of reservation as to how you practice your culture. In fact, when I saw the video, it was disheartening, it was heartbreaking, it was, I don't know, because you cannot, I was imagining myself in that situation where you are in somebody's let me say somebody's top. You understand, where you don't really understand how they operate, you don't really understand their culture, and then you're caught in between, and then you don't even, I mean, it's in 2026 we should not be doing this as a country.
When I saw the king speaking, addressing members of NANS among other youths, he was visibly pained because clearly he doesn't even know about it. He didn't know about it. He cannot say, according to what he said, which was quite funny, he said, I cannot say I don't know, which will indict me because it happened on my grounds. And I cannot say I know because it will also indict me because that means I took part in it.
But he's aware of the culture, right? He's aware of
it never happened according to him during his time. It is the first time, I think, they said in over 20 years. Now, the chief herbalist of the community, I think, was arrested alongside some community members and youths. The most painful part about this was the fact that I saw children, young boys around the age of 14, 13, 15, joining in this crazy activity.
It's like training them to take over when the adults must have.
These are children that don't even know their left from their rights yet.
So let's have Raji come in. What do you think about that, Mr. Raji?
I think the festival, whatever it is a barbaric one. It is archaic and something that needs to be thrown into the river where it belongs, that can never be seen again. Because there are some cultures, traditions that are drawing the country back. Just like when I was reading this man's book, there was a country. What's the name of the author? This late professor. He said, and when one white man said he came to Nigeria, and he said he saw on the truck, man was whack. So he was terrified that man was whack. Meaning of whack in their country means maybe you should kill or harm somebody. So there are some cultures and traditions that when you take a look at it, it draws the country back. And such culture is part of what happened in Nozoro. How can you say you are celebrating a festival and women cannot take part in it? Women should be locked inside. A lot of people have been coming online to share their experience about this kind of festival that is being held in especially that region, the Niger Delta and other provinces in that place. So I think it is barbaric. So far, I learned that 16 suspects have been arrested, and according to the state government, the festival has been banned, but it is banned on paper. Will it be followed to the latter? That is what we don't know. And they said the case has been transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department, which is the state CID. I believe with these steps taken, it should bar a lot of people. But the problem now is those little children that should still be under the pamper of their parents that have been exposed to this kind of tradition. How will they take it? And Nigeria is a country that is dominated by young males and females. What are we passing to these children? How will they take it? Will they continue with this kind of tradition? And this tradition is something that can kill the economy of that particular state if care is not taken. It's so barbaric. I watched the video, I felt like crying because it's a global phenomenon that people have looked into now. Now, Africa, God. It's so disheartening. And I think the government should do the needful, not only the state government, but the federal government. It should do the needful. All these archaic festivals, they need to be looked into and so change with better ones that will promote the country instead of promoting all this barbaric. And I learned that even before the festival will take place, they will announce to the public that this particular festival is taking place now. Nobody should come out. Any lady should not come out. But this particular one, no announcement was made. That means there is purpose for that particular festival, and which the government need to look into.
Muwaffaq, I was going to touch on that because there is no part of this country where you go and then you don't find people practice one culture or the other. Whether that culture sits well with you morally or not, but then, I mean, they have the right to practice their culture. But for as long as they do it in the right way, for as long as they initiate a better way of doing it, such that it does not infringe on other people's rights, I think it is welcome. But in a situation where you observe a cultural festival, and then you end up infringing in people's right, and then subjecting people to such humiliating and it's so uncalled for. So it's for the kingdom, to do something about it, such that if such is going to happen next time, they should, ensure that they find a better way of, going about practicing this culture in such a way that it doesn't, infringe on people's rights. Because we are Nigerians, you have the right to feel free.
Of course, but when you look at cultures are meant to be changed with the coming of modernization, the coming of religion, Christianity, and Islam. A whole lot of things have changed in our cultures. We have found a way of changing, reviewing some of the rights. In the East, for example, when you go for your marital rights, for the marriage rights, where the bride will pass you palm wine. Right now, lately, if you are not a drinker of palm wine, juice is replaced with palm wine. Now that is culture being fine-tuned, right? Now imagine if we had continued with the killing of twins, just like it started. Along the line, we realized no, it's not proper. We had to change, the whole thing. Now in the North also, forget whatever it is. In the North also, there are some of these traditions. We have the Bori culture also, the Bori tradition, the Bori religion entirely, which at some point to an extent, they are almost even about going extinct right now because religion, Islam have taken over the North, and a lot of these religions, you hardly see them being practiced, right? Now, this does not mean that cultures should not be practiced.
Or some of these practices should be eliminated.
Completely. If you have to do it right. But when you are going to do it and it is going to affect someone physically, mentally, however it's going to affect this person, please, I don't see the need for it.
Yeah, it should be fine-tuned, to sit with the times.
It should if not eliminated.
If not eliminated.
If not eliminated.
Yeah, most definitely.
Of course.
So let's have your final words on, the three topics. Maybe you can match in, say, 2 seconds. Maybe you match the three topics we talk about. your final take.
I believe with what is happening now, Nigeria can still find its ground when it comes to, I believe with what is happening is opening the eyes of a lot of people, and I believe we can get it right with time. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Viewer, we've been speaking with Mr. Raji Hussein, who is, a freelance journalist and a public affairs analyst. He joins us via Zoom, to touchlight some of the issues that we've been speaking on. Mr. Muwaffaq, maybe you can quickly, say one or two on what you think about the three topics as we, round off.
Just like I said, I'm going to go with baby steps. I know it's not easy, but baby steps. From our politicians to our traditional title holders to our businessmen, because these three topics that we are having are affecting these three people. For our politicians, should not be greedy, Our businessmen should strategize to see how we can be self-reliant and self-sufficient.
Sure.
And our traditional fathers, our royal fathers, should find a way of giving these traditions, these are our traditions, a facelift. You make it look better, make it look more enticing, more
Definitely.
attractive, Let it even be more of a tourist attraction. We can generate resources from some of these traditions for crying
Sure.
out loud. So we don't have to be barbaric about them, you know. So I feel we'll get there for baby steps.
All right. So, listener, this is the much we can take on today's edition of the show Facts and Opinion. But before we completely draw the curtains on the today's edition, I would like to say one or two on three topics, and then I'm going to start with the political appointees. Now that you're about to be relieved from your current position, I mean, it is an opportunity for your electorate to have another scrutiny of who you are to see if you're worthy of that position you're going to vie for as we look forward to the 2027 general election. And of course, the OB and Kwankwaso, alliance. I don't know how that is going to go because I see two captains. I don't know. Who is going to say, okay, I think you should take the lead. So we're going to see how things are going to, pan out in a couple of days, especially as they hold their convention in weeks or even days to come. And looking at the issue of like skyrocketing every minute, I don't know. But then just a few months ago, we were trying to see how Nigerians can, move out of that particular situations they were put in when, we had that announcement of subsidies gone. It felt like they have been shoveled back to poverty, because as these four, continue to go up, the ripple effects begin to touch on so many things, and then it affects livelihood. And or if you go to the market today, prices of staple diets are not longer the way they used to, and then so it's more like pushing Nigerians more into poverty. So I think it is high time that the government begin to be proactive on some of these things, understanding that challenges like this will come. So what are we going to do to stem the tide in case if it comes? So I just hope that a more a more better measure is going to be put in place in a couple of days to cushion the effect of this fuel hike. And on the controversial Ozoro festival that has generated a lot of reactions from persons across the country, I think it's quite uncalled for to subject people to such horrifying and of course bitter experience all in the name of culture. Just like you said earlier, such culture can be given facelift, it can be fine-tuned, it can we understand that things are evolving, but not subjecting people to such barbaric way of doing things, and then all in the name of culture. So it is a call on the kingdom, a call on the Nigerian government to begin to look at some of these things that involve culture, especially as it relates to some regions. We get to do things so it doesn't infringe on people's rights. So that is where we, say bye-bye on today's edition of the show. I've been speaking with, or rather, we've been speaking with Mr. Hussein Raji, who, helped in giving his own opinion on some of these topics. My name is Pius Kadon, and
as usual, my name is Muwaffaq.
All right. So make sure you join us for another scintillating and interesting edition of the show come next week. You can also join by following us on our social media handles that will be displayed on your screen. And of course, you can share your opinion on the comment section on what you think about some of these topics we talked about. We'll see you again when we see you.